in the news is the 30 years anniversary of the World Wide Web. And it's true that the World Wide Web has unlocked resources like information, access to social networks, goods that were previously completely out of reach for many people. And yet, today it is also the case that because of the data trace, the data we leak on a daily basis as we go online, we are also becoming increasingly intimately transparent. And I like to think of this by using the metaphor where, I don't know if you've read The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells, you know, there's Griffin, and Griffin's fate is not a very invariable fate, and in fact his story doesn't end very nicely. Now, I think our story is a bit like Griffin, except that our fate can be reversed. Yeah, so we are becoming increasingly transparent. And it's attractive at first because all the things that the World Wide Web is unlocking for us. But we might want to go back to some level of opacity because guess what? In order to construct things like personhood, I'm not going to go into physical stuff, actually opacity is pretty important. Now, so my problem here is how do we reverse things? How do we go back to a level of opacity we're comfortable with? And I guess our proposal is one tool in the toolbox of us and society today to try and reverse this process. And so I've called it bottom-up data trust. I'll come back to this because today the word data trust is used and misused. I mean, sometimes people use the word data trust when actually they're not talking of trust, they're talking of something that sounds nice because there's the word trust in it. So as a marketing tool, the word trust is pretty attractive. And I think it's really important that we get clear about what we talk about when we talk about data trust. So, to just briefly encapsulate the problem as we see it, today, in fact, it was really interesting to listen to your talks before because I was thinking, you know, it's interesting how a lot of people still see ownership as the one, or at least the most plausible way of bringing back control to people over the data. And I'm always puzzled about this. I'm a lawyer by training, I also feel so. And this association between ownership and control is a very intuitive one. It seems to stem from this saying, I don't know if you've heard, one's home is one's castle. Data is not like homes. It's not like castles either. And actually, if we were to somehow propertize data, if we were to try and go down the ownership route, the property rights data would give rise to would be more like the rights that someone who owns a stretch of river has. Yeah, these are very non-exclusive rights, and they always have to take into account downstream, upstream, both sides of the river, etc. So ownership wouldn't actually give you that much control, just like the owner of a river doesn't have that much control. And it's also a pretty poor answer to the problems at stake. Why is it a poor answer to the problems at stake? Well, unlike most homes or river owners, most of us don't have the time or the resources necessary to keep track or let alone control what uses are made of our data. It's much easier to control what use is made of my home than what use is made of my data. So, today there are instruments like the GDPR, and in the US now there's the CCPA is an interesting regulatory intervention. There are instruments that are trying to address these issues. So this what I call epistemic imbalances, so it's asymmetry in the knowledge that data controllers and data subjects have. But on their own, these regulatory interventions cannot reverse the power imbalance between data subjects and data controllers. And so here comes our proposal. So first, we argue that basically the power that stems from aggregated data should be returned to individuals through the legal mechanism of trust. Okay. That means, in our proposal, data subjects tend to be both the settlers and the beneficiaries of a trust. So in the trust, you have settlers who give whatever they're giving into the trust. You have the beneficiaries. Sometimes they're the same people, sometimes they're not. Okay, so in our proposal, data subjects are the settlers and the beneficiaries. Now, this proposal is meant to empower us, data subjects, to effectively take the reins of our data and exercise rights that most of us are unlikely to even be aware of. Yeah, so all the rights that the GDPR is granting us are in fact very important, but as a matter of fact, very few people are actually aware of these rights. Now, what I would like to say, actually, this is an interesting analogy that I just want to mention. In a paper that was published a few years ago, Neil first came up with this data trust idea and compared the idea of land societies that were developed in the 19th century in order to acquire the right to vote. So people, because the right to vote was conditioned to having free vote, the idea here was that people would group their resources and acquire a piece of land and then share that piece of land so that more of them could acquire the right to vote. And similarly, you could argue that the trust proposal is a way of acquiring, of enabling people to acquire votes, which otherwise they would not have on their own. Even if they have their hats, even if they have all sorts of technical means to have more control over the data, it does not mean that they necessarily have votes. Now, how do we get to that point? Well, clearly, there's going to be a very important person in this story, and that's the data trustee. Now, the data trustee is effectively an intermediary between the data controllers and the data subjects. The data trustees have a fiduciary obligation. Now, that's really important. That means they have an obligation of undivided loyalty to the data subjects. And that's not to be taken lightly. It does mean that today there are people like Balkin, I can't pronounce it, who is a professor in Yale, who's argued that we should incentivize corporations like Google or Facebook to accept to take on fiduciary obligations in return for, say, tax incentives. So the idea is to say, well, yes, let's fix this mess. Let's make sure that the data controllers themselves have fiduciary obligations. And I argue that this is actually not just a bad idea, it doesn't make sense. And it doesn't make sense because fiduciary obligation is completely incompatible with any conflict of interest. And if you're a data controller, you have responsibility towards your shareholders. So if your shareholders are asking you to monetize data, to turn a profit, how can you not have a conflict of interest with the interest of your data subjects? Okay. So here the argument is important, is to say, forget the idea of fiduciary obligations on the part of controllers. You need intermediaries, independent persons that are called data trustees. Now, it's really important, this is why I have my little shopping person here. I think that there'll be a variety of data trusts, so what we call an ecosystem of data trusts. And here the idea is that you enable people to shop around data trusts and to choose an approach to data governance that better reflects their aspirations or their attitudes to risk. Yeah. So there are many ways of balancing the risks and responsibilities when it comes to data. And some people, for instance, may want to maximize profits. Okay, fine. Some people may want to, say, promote some kind of medical research or common good. Yeah, you could try and optimize the use of natural resources or whatever it is. You say, I want my data to be used for those purposes. Or you could try and you could be very worried about your security. And you might say, well, I want my data to be managed in such a way that my privacy and security is absolutely maximized. I don't care about financial access. So, in this case, it's really important that data subjects are able to shop around and switch from one trust to another as and when their aspirations change. Okay. And this is made possible by data portability, and that, but I will come back to that. Now, also I wanted to say that this shopping model is interesting because at the moment nobody will deny that there's a very low level of data awareness. Most people are not aware of the fact that they are leaking data on a daily basis. And so what we hope is that as this model takes you have suddenly a choice that is not just a top-down regulation that imposes one particular way of conceiving of data governance, that instead, within the regulatory framework, you have to exercise choice, reflecting your preferences. Then this could also serve to raise awareness and make sure that our current regulations keep in touch with changing needs and aspirations. So it's kind of a feedback loop when it comes to people and regulators. Now, clearly, for this to work, it's important that the creation of trust is relatively straightforward, and most importantly, that our data must be secure, quite clearly. And given that the expertise when it comes to data security is in short supply, these trusts might want to rely on commercial solutions, maybe cloud-based infrastructures that do not necessarily require the data to be stored physically in whether it's a centralized trust depository or whether in fact people keep it. You could imagine this trust system is compatible with all sorts of models. You can have people keeping their little hats with their little repositories. You can have trust that centralize data in one central big box, or you can have cloud-based systems and where you keep the data wherever it is. Okay, so data portability and data erasure rights. Clearly, for this model to work, you need the data trustees to be able to exercise the right to portability and the right to erasure on behalf of the people who are part of the trust. Now, at the moment, these data portability rights and data erasure rights are quite limited. They're great. I mean, GDPR has introduced something that's very important. But under Article 17 of the GDPR, you do have a right to have your personal data erased only in certain circumstances, and there's significant exceptions. And the same applies for the CCPA. The same story goes for data portability. It's only applicable when the data has been provided in the context. It could be in the context of passively or actively, in the context of contract, etc. And there are exceptions. So I'm not going to bore you with all the details. But what I'm trying to say here is that while these data portability and data erasure rights and data access rights as well are very important, at the moment they probably need to grow, and it is hopeful. I hope that with this model, data trustees could effectively become a sort of lobby force to increase the scope of those rights and basically have a much stronger voice than individuals could have before. Implementation challenges. I'm doing well. I think it's like that. It's great. So I'm sure you have many issues you're thinking about. There are many issues. The first question that I always get is trust, but we are in the UK, but what about all the other countries where trust law doesn't necessarily apply? Well, that's a question that's easily dealt with. Actually, trust law for instance, there's very interesting initiatives now that are trying to harmonize property law in Europe by looking at the mechanism, the tools that trust law relies on in order to harmonize property law across Europe. And effectively, this need not be the trust law concept can be exported to any country as you wish. So it's not necessarily a problem. The biggest problem, by far, I think, is uptake. So, given the low level of societal awareness that we have today, how is it going to be the case that people will be bothered to shop around and choose one trust among a variety of trusts? Indeed, there are a variety of trusts. So, how do you go from point zero today to a point where people are sufficiently conscious and motivated to choose a trust? Now, there are answers to this problem. They involve a degree of paternalism, which is always dangerous. And so, one answer is to say, well, at the beginning, and in fact, in any case, you would want a mix of public and private initiatives. So, you would want a mix of, say, local government that decide that in order to fulfill local data sharing needs between hospitals, social care, and education services, they will need, in any case, to share data across those services. And so you could imagine a system that effectively, by default, you of course notify the people concerned and you say, well, you can opt out, but if you do not opt out, your data will be put into this trust that is managed locally. Now, if indeed we are correct about the fact that people have a low level of awareness and a high level of inertia, most people are unlikely to opt out. Yeah? And so you are going to have a very potentially explosive situation because you want to make sure that whoever is put by default in the trust has continuing safeguards so that it is indeed very clear that there are very easy procedures to change and switch trust if say, the individual who's been put in say, let's see, this is the default trust. They need to be reminded on a very regular basis that they are in this trust, that they can opt out, that they can switch. So you need an oversight mechanism. So you need very strong governance guarantees that mean that you make sure that whatever default trust exists continues to best fulfill the needs of the wider. It's not easy, and I always feel iffy about this, but I do acknowledge the fact that actually, if we're going to go from point now to a system where there are a variety of trusts, you will need public professionals. Right? And it's likely also that you will need some kind of default. For people who do nothing, they will need to trust. Now, that's probably the biggest implementation challenge, but there are others. Security concerns. Of course, people will worry that data trust may inadvertently increase the extent to which the data that is collected ambiently would have to be traced back to particular individuals. So take, for instance, my phone, it has a rotating MAC address, right? And that's designed by Apple so as to make sure that, say, when I walk in the station, it's harder for me to be associated with the data I'm picking in the public space. Now, is it the case that our data trust proposal would mean that suddenly this data needs to be reassociated with the individual? I don't think so. And really interesting point here is that in a trust, the beneficiaries of a trust do not need to be identified individually. They can be referred to by reference to a purpose. So you can say, for instance, I can create a trust to facilitate entertainment in my street. Right? Now, the inhabitants of my street will change, and in fact, when I create the trust about entertainment in my street, I may not even know who lives in that street. But so, by reference to the purpose, I can identify who are the beneficiaries of that trust. And similarly with data trust, I think you could find a way to circumvent the dangers that are associated with individually identifying each beneficiary of a trust by defining the purpose of the trust for security reasons. Exit procedures. That's another one that I always get. So, yeah, it's not actually on this little drawing, but shared provenance issues. Peter, you raised that earlier in the talk. Yeah, so you will always have this problem, the fact that when Sylvie, I join, say, the trust that seeks to maximize financial rewards. Now, of course, some of my data will come from social media platforms. Some of my data will come from maybe images captured on the street. This will mean that it also involves other people. But that's a problem that's already well known by all sorts of platforms. Already today, in order to comply with GDPR obligations, social media platforms have to find a way of disentangling and addressing these issues. So this is not a problem that's unique to data trust. And you could specify procedures to tackle these shared provenance issues in the terms of the trust, so that at least it's transparent. Now, the other thing that I want to mention is that here I've only put one layer of trust, but you can actually have meta trust. So you can, for instance, say I can join a trust that maximizes medical, well, the best use of natural resources. Yeah. Now, when I join that trust, let's say that all my data goes to that trust. There are other models where you split your data. But you could have then a meta trust, which is a medical trust, that goes and talks to each of these trusts, and talks to each of the trustees and says, hey, how can I comply with your terms so that I, the medical trust, can, in a way that is acceptable to each of you, absorb the data that is medical, so that I, the medical data trust, can have a huge data set when it comes to medical data, in a way that respects the aspirations and preferences of the members of each trust. But what's appealing here is that you have a system that requires individuals to think ahead about their aspirations, preferences, etc. when it comes to, for instance, the sharing of medical data, but other things as well. And it also frees individuals sometimes from reflecting about questions they're not necessarily well equipped to deal with, and the data trustees will have to hold those negotiations. I just want to conclude with one point, and the point I want to conclude with is beware of trust washing. I love this. Trust washing. Trust washing is the idea. Trust is a nice term, and as a marketing tool, it works. Yeah, so everybody wants more trust when it comes to data. So why not call it a data trust? It's lovely. And for instance, the whole percentage report, I'm not critical of the idea itself, actually. The repeatable frameworks of terms and conditions to share data between companies. Yeah? So, are you familiar with the whole percentage report? No? Whole percentage report. It was published almost 2 years ago now.
Yeah, I heard you.
Yeah. So they said, well, in order to consolidate the position of the UK as a leader in the etc., one of the recommendations was to say, let's have data trust. But by data trust, that report really meant a structure that enables two companies to responsibly share the data they have in a way that can produce more value, because certainly they're sharing different data sets. Now that's very valuable. I think it's a very useful idea, but actually it's far from clear whether they should be called trusts. Yeah? Whether they are data trustees with fiduciary responsibilities. So one key criterion is this: fiduciary obligations and to whom. And I think we need to be vigilant about this. That's my conclusion.
Great.